Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is the kind that leaves you speechless, a mix of betrayal, revenge, and poetic justice. Imagine this. It's Christmas morning. The fireplace is crackling, kids are laughing, and everyone's celebrating. Until one woman, a wife, raises her glass and announces she's filing for divorce. Her family starts cheering. But what happens next? Nobody, not even she, could have seen coming. Today in the studio, I've got Michael. And trust me, his story will blow your mind. It's raw, shocking, and oh so satisfying. Michael, the floor is yours. Let's get into it.
Secrets of Alex's friends.
I never thought Christmas morning would become the day my marriage died. You know how they say, holidays bring families closer together? Well, in my case, they brought out every hidden crack in the glass. And by the time the champagne popped, everything shattered. It started perfectly normal. The house smelled like cinnamon and coffee. My parents were there, her parents too. Our kids were running around in their new pajamas, laughing, waiting to open gifts. I remember standing by the fireplace, looking around, thinking, yeah, this is what happiness looks like. Then she tapped her glass with a spoon. Clink, clink. Everyone turned. She smiled that sweet, fake smile I'd grown used to over the last few months. Before we open presents, she said, I have an announcement to make. My stomach dropped. I didn't know why yet, but something in her tone felt rehearsed, too calm. She took a deep breath and said, I've decided to file for divorce. Just like that. No warning, no emotion, no remorse. The room froze. My mom gasped. My dad's face turned red, and her parents, her own parents, started clapping, smiling, like this was some kind of victory speech. I stood there, holding a mug of coffee that suddenly felt like a dead weight in my hand. My brain couldn't even process it. Divorce? On Christmas morning? In front of everyone? I looked at her, trying to find any trace of the woman I married. The one who once cried when we forgot our anniversary, who'd laugh until she couldn't breathe at my dumb jokes. But that woman wasn't there anymore. This one looked like a stranger wearing her face. And then came the worst part. She looked right at me, tilted her head slightly, and said, Don't make this harder than it has to be, Michael. You knew it was coming. No, I didn't. But, in that moment, I realized she thought I did, and that told me everything. Because I did know something was off. The late nights at work, the sudden need for privacy, the new phone password she claimed was for security reasons. I'd been ignoring my gut for months, convincing myself that I was paranoid, that stress was making me see ghosts where there were none. But now, watching her make a public spectacle out of our marriage's death, I knew exactly what was going on. She'd already replaced me. And the worst part? I could see it in her father's smirk. He knew too. Which meant she'd told them. Which meant this wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation, carefully planned. Something in me snapped, but I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything, didn't storm out. I smiled, because for the first time, I understood the game she was playing. And I knew how to win it. I spent the rest of the morning pretending to be numb. I let them have their little celebration, their twisted sense of freedom. But in my head, I was already making a list. A list of dates, names, messages, a list of lies I'd collected quietly, one by one over the past few months, without even realizing why I kept them. And by the time everyone left that evening, I knew exactly what I was going to do. Because if she wanted to turn Christmas into a stage for betrayal, then I'd make sure she remembered the encore for the rest of her life. The night after her Christmas announcement, I didn't sleep. Not a second. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to her soft breathing beside me, like nothing had happened. She had the audacity to sleep peacefully, while my mind replayed every moment of the past year in high definition. Every late meeting. Every time she'd turned her phone screen away when I walked by. Every cold shoulder and fake smile. It all made sense now. I got out of bed around 3 a.m., made myself a cup of black coffee, and sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. If she wanted a war, she was getting one, but on my terms. I started by checking the family phone bill. It took me 5 minutes to find the number. The same number she'd called over and over again, late at night, during her business trips, even once on our anniversary. I copied it, Googled it, and there he was. A coworker, divorced, fitness coach, the kind of guy who posts gym selfies and motivation quotes like he invented self-discipline. I felt my stomach twist, but I didn't rage. Not anymore. Instead, I opened a folder on my desktop and named it Truth. Inside, I started saving everything. Screenshots, messages I'd quietly backed up from her old phone, even emails, all the proof I never thought I'd use. Days turned into weeks. I became someone else. Calm, precise, invisible. She thought she'd broken me. But what she didn't know was that I'd stopped playing the part of the heartbroken husband. I was now an observer, and I observed everything. She'd come home smelling like his cologne. Her phone would buzz, and she'd smile before locking it. Sometimes she'd say, "I'm meeting the girls tonight." Sure, the girls. Every time she lied, I added another file to my collection. Then, one evening, I found the final piece. An email, one she'd sent from her work account but forgot to delete. It wasn't romantic. It was logistical. She was planning to move out in January. She'd already found an apartment. And guess whose name was on the lease with hers? That was it. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just betrayal. It was a setup. She wanted me to be blindsided, humiliated, destroyed. So I decided to give her exactly what she wanted. Just not the way she expected. I started setting the stage. I told her I'd accepted the divorce, that I understood, that I just wanted her to be happy. She relaxed, smiled more, stopped hiding things as carefully. And that's when I planted the trap. I told her I wanted to host one last dinner, a goodbye dinner with both our families. You know, to show everyone we could end things peacefully, like adults. She thought it was sweet. She even kissed me on the cheek and said, "I'm glad you're finally being mature about it." I just smiled, because if she thought Christmas was memorable, she hadn't seen anything yet. I spent the next week preparing. Photos, messages, proof. I put it all together into one beautiful presentation. Nothing dramatic, just truth, laid out in cold, hard evidence. By the time the dinner night arrived, I wasn't nervous. I was ready to watch her perfect little world collapse under the weight of her own lies. The night of the goodbye dinner felt almost peaceful. The table was set, candles lit, everything perfect. Too perfect. If someone walked in without context, they'd think we were the happiest couple in the world. Her parents arrived first, cheerful as ever. My mom brought her famous apple pie. My dad shook my hand, his eyes silently asking, "Are you sure about this?" I just nodded. Then she walked in. My soon-to-be ex-wife, wearing a red dress she used to save for special occasions. She looked stunning, and completely unaware that tonight was about to burn her world to the ground. Dinner started out normal. Small talk, laughter, forced smiles. At one point, she reached across the table and touched my hand. "Thank you for doing this," she said softly. "It means a lot to me." I smiled back. Of course. I just wanted everyone to hear something before we finalize things. I stood up and raised my glass. "This year has been eye-opening," I began. "And I think it's only fair to be honest before we move forward." She smiled, still playing the role of the calm, collected one. Her parents looked proud, like she was finally escaping a marriage they thought held her back. I turned on the TV. A slideshow appeared, family photos first, our wedding, the kids' birthdays, the usual happy memories. Then came the texts. Then the emails. Then the photos of her and him. At first, no one understood what they were looking at. Then her father leaned forward, squinting. Then her mother gasped. And then, silence. You could hear the air leave the room. Her face went white. "Michael, what is this?" she stammered. "It's the truth," I said calmly. "The truth you forgot to mention when you announced our divorce in front of everyone on Christmas morning." Her mom put a hand over her mouth. My mom just stared at me, half in shock, half in pride. "You embarrassed me in front of both our families," I continued. "And you thought I'd just let it go. But see, I believe in closure. And now, everyone here knows exactly why this marriage is ending." She started crying, not from guilt, from exposure. She kept whispering, "Please, stop. Please, not in front of them." But I didn't stop, because she hadn't stopped when she decided to turn my life into a spectacle. Her father stood up, furious. "You didn't have to do this," he yelled. I turned to him and said, "You applauded her when she humiliated me. So tonight, I'm just returning the favor." He sat back down. After that, no one said a word, not for a long time. She left the table first, still crying, slamming the door behind her. Her parents followed, faces pale and stunned. The moment they were gone, my mom quietly reached for my hand. "You did what you had to do," she said. And maybe she was right. Because for the first time in months, I felt peace. Not joy, not triumph, just silence in my chest instead of chaos. I cleaned the table alone, blew out the candles, sat there for a while, staring at the empty plates and half-drunk glasses. And then I laughed. Just once, quietly, because I realized something. You can lose everything and still come out free. When people ask me now if I regret doing it that way, I say no. Not because revenge made me happy, it didn't. But because truth deserved its moment, and I finally gave it one.
Wow, that's one Christmas morning nobody will ever forget. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? Was Michael right to do what he did, or did he go too far? We love hearing your opinions, so drop your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss our next story. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care and stay strong.
Secrets of Alex's Friends